Hey you guys, okay, so today I will be showing you how I drew Mr. Bob Marley. Okay, so drawing him was rather tough. Super tough, super crazy because it's just so many details that goes into this portrait to actually make it look just like him. It's just so much that goes into this, and I'm so happy I finished it. Okay, the art materials I used was the Faber-Castell graphite pencils. I used Faber-Castell eraser. I used blending stumps. It doesn't have to be Faber-Castell. I used charcoal, which wasn't Faber-Castell. Q-tips, and I'll show you guys later on in the video how I used them and why I used them. Small paintbrush and a blending towel. Okay, so as you guys can see, his eyes, his eyebrows, his nose, and the wrinkles around his eyes and the wrinkles near his nose are pretty much done. But what I'm doing right now is I'm starting to fill in and shade and blend his mustache. So basically what I do is I go in with a Faber-Castell pencil, the lightest pencil in the pack, which I think was an H. I think it was an H. The lightest pencil in the pack, and I start from there. So I go from light to dark when filling in his mustache. And I use that blending stump and paper towel. I think that was it paper towel? A paper towel. No, don't use paper towel. Use a old sheet or a old piece of paper that you're not really looking, so that you won't get that charcoal or that graphite on your hands and you won't smear that picture. So as you guys can see, I'm just building up that mustache, building up and just blending. So I'm building up, blending, building up, blending, building up, blending until I get that desired look. And that's the same thing that I did with his eyes, his brows, his nose, the wrinkles on the side of his eyes, because he does have wrinkles on the side of his eyes. I did all of this with that technique. So I'm just going to let you guys see, how I managed to pull that off. Okay, now I'm starting to take that blending spud, that stump, and I'm just using the excess graphite on that stump, and I'm just lightly filling in his face, putting color into the face, just to kind of give me a little guide as to how dark I want his face to be, how light I want his face to be. In realism, and that's even in makeup or whatever you're doing, your face is different shades. So you're going to have different shades. Your face is not the same shade, and that's why it's best to kind of really study your portrait before you even draw. But I went back on to working onto his mustache, and I'm just using a more darker pencil, as you guys can see, and filling in that mustache. Then I'm going to go ahead and blend it. So all you're doing when you're doing realism, all you're doing is filling in, you're layering, filling in, blending. Layering, filling in, blending. It's crucial to realism to make your portraits actually look extremely real. You're blending. You're studying your portrait. These are things that you have to learn when doing realism. So, like I said, I'm just blending in his mustache, getting it the way I see it on the portrait. Everything that you guys do when it comes to realism, you have to, that's the biggest thing. You have to study your portrait. Because if you don't study your portrait and you don't really get a feel for, okay, he has wrinkles, he has this, or he has that, you're not going to get that realistic drawing. So that's why it's very important. Okay, so now I'm starting to take my mechanical pencil, and this wasn't a Faber-Castell pencil, this was just an old mechanical pencil. I'm starting to take that pencil and I'm starting to shade in his lips just a little bit. I'm not doing too much on his lips right now. You don't want to go heavy on his lips. You always want to do light to dark, because if you do dark to light, you're not going to be able to blend that. But if you do light to dark, it's easy to blend that. I'm going in, I'm starting to work on his gums, because he has gums, and gums are not dark, they are light. So that's why it's important to go in with a mechanical pencil, or you can go in with a letter H pencil, a Faber-Castell pencil, and just blend. That's all you're really doing. Light to dark, blend. Light to dark, blend. Make sure you're studying light to dark, blend. So that's what's going on right now. Now, when working on lips, as you see in the portrait of Bob Marley, you see that his bottom lip, he does have a highlight, or some would say there's kind of like a gloss. He does have a highlight and a gloss, and he has a dark inside of his mouth. So I'm using the mechanical pencil to mimic that and get that darkness into his mouth and all around his lips, and I'm just blending it in, and I'm just building up. So all it is just blending, building up, just like any portrait you would do. Okay, so my small paintbrush, I love this because when I was actually studying how to draw, my instructor told me that, it's best if you use small paintbrush, and I've been using that, and I've been able to blend with that. So as you guys see, his lips are done, mustache is done, darkness in his mouth is done, his gums are done. I'm still going to touch up on those, but right now I'm just going to start shading in his hair. I just wanted a face of Bob Marley. I didn't really want to do his body too much. And his hair, it's not hard to do, but it's very tedious because there is a lot of blending. There is a lot of light to dark. There is a lot of using that brown blending towel, because you have to make sure that it's dark. It's extremely dark. And that was the thing with me. I wanted to make sure that his hair was as dark as I can get it with the charcoal and everything that I had used for these with these pencils. I just wanted to make sure that his hair was dark. So as you see, I'm using my blending towel to basically just blend out that graphite. Make sure that his hair is even. Like I said, I just wanted a face picture of him, a face portrait. I didn't really want to do too much of his body. That's why I really didn't do too much of his body. But if you guys want to do his body, feel free. Feel free. Go ahead and draw his body, but I really didn't want that. And there you guys have it.